Ruthie Dahle and welcome to my channel and welcome to How To Fridays. This week we are learning how to fold our clothes and how to fold our bed sheets. So if you want to know how to do that, then keep on watching. Now, before I actually show you all of the tips and tricks that I do have, I just want to say that folding everything that you have, unless you hang it up, I do prefer that you hang some of your clothes. But if you don't have the space for that, because not everybody does, then folding things properly is going to make sure that you have more space. It's going to make sure everything looks neat and the way it looks makes it easier for you to find each item, and it's going to look organized. I am going to be starting off with the smaller things, and then I'm going to build up from there. And so we are going to start with something really small. I don't want to show my underwear on this channel, so I am doing a bikini bottom that has been shown on my Instagram, so it's not like the world hasn't seen it. With an underwear, it doesn't matter if it's something like this, if it's a thong, it doesn't matter if it's boxers or anything like that, but what you want to do is make sure that this is the front, and you fold it in towards the middle on both sides, then you fold it down, maybe halfway, and then you take the first layer, and then you grab the second layer, and in this hole right here, you're gonna tuck the bottom part in. And then you have something like this. You can stack them in the drawer or you can lay them flat. Whatever you have, you are gonna now have something that is easy to grab. You already know by the fabric, by the color, you already know exactly which one it is. And by stacking them like this in the drawer, everything is gonna be a lot easier for you to see. I actually had to change my camera angle for this so that you can easily see. I already have mine folded, but I'm going to be showing two different socks because people have different lengths on their socks. So we're going to start off with the easy one, and that is to make sure it is flat. And when I say it is flat, I mean you can see the heel, you can see the toe. Make sure the toe is flat. And the easiest thing is to do this before you put it on to dry. That way it comes off this way, and it's just going to be easier than trying to correct this after the math, basically. So you lay the sock down horizontally, and then you take the other sock that is squeezed in the same way and you lay it vertically, and you keep the top of the sock where the ankle is on the other sock. Then you fold this side in, the other side in. Now mine is a little bit long, so I had to fold it twice. So mine will be looking like this when it's folded twice, just because it's a little bit longer, but that's perfectly fine. And then what you want to do is wrap this one up, and you have this is the inside of the sock that we have folded around, and you can see the rim of the sock right here. So you open that up, and this part of the sock you flip it in, and you do like this. When you have smaller socks like these ankle socks, it's going to be a little bit tougher just because they are a little bit smaller. So the same principle is that you dry them flat and you lay them down flat. Now you want this one to lay flat, but this one that is putting on top, you want to flip in the heel a little bit so the sock is not as wide, because this sock is not as long. And then you fold it in, the same principle, and you have to make sure that you hold on this part so it doesn't unravel. Flip over, and you see we don't have a lot of room to work with, but you put it inside the same way. Doesn't matter if you tuck in, you squeeze a little bit like this to make sure it keeps the shape. Now, when it comes to a t-shirt, there is a trick to t-shirts, and I am just laying this one down flat to show you this. Now, it's wrinkly because it's been in the closet, and I don't usually wear t-shirts anymore. But this is the sleeves, this is the neck. And so basically what you want to do is make sure you have a little bit of space by the neck, about this much out, and that's where you're gonna grab when I show you how to grab it. And so you grab this part that I showed you. In the middle of the fabric, from the bottom to the top, alongside the same line, you grab the fabric again, just pinch it. You flip this one over, making sure the sleeve is what hits the front of this shirt. Grab it, shake it, flip it down and over. And then you have a shirt packed like this. Now, if this is too difficult for you, then what you can do is just fold it in half. Make sure the shoulder aligns with the shoulder just for a better fold. And you flip the sleeve inside like this. I like that it comes in like this as well, just to make it smaller and take up less space. And you want to lay it flat if it does unravel, and then you just fold it in half. And if you want, you can fold it again if you don't want it to take up as much space. That way you can stack your t-shirts if that's what you want to do, the same as the underwear. Now, when it comes to hoodies, these can be a little bit trickier to fold, especially using the first t-shirt method, but I'm going to show you with this one. So you want to lay it flat down with the print down on the bed or the surface that you're folding on. I don't have any surface but my bed, so we're using this. Essentially, you want to lay it flat so that it's facing down, and what you want to do is fold it in about as much as room you want to fold it in. I like to go about this, and then now that the sleeve is here, I just like to make sure it doesn't go above the fold that I want on the other side. So usually just before the hoodie starts on this side, that's where I will stop this from going, and I kind of fold it over like this. It should be this, and I fold it over, and I fold it over again. It shouldn't take, if you have longer sleeves, it's gonna take a few more times to fold it back and forward, but I don't have any long sleeves because all of my clothes are tiny. And then you do the same on the other side. You bring it over and over the same, you flip it, and you flip it again. Now this is where it can get interesting on how you do it. If you want to, you can flip it up this way and then up again if you want a smaller fold, but I like to actually look a little bit at the print. So what I'm going to do is fold it up so that the neckline matches the bottom. So what I basically have now is the hoodie part, and I flip it over. So the hoodie is what's at the bottom. This way, whenever I grab it out of the closet, I am grabbing the whole thing and it doesn't unravel as I'm doing this, because the hoodie is what keeps everything in place. So I have the hoodie facing on the back side and I have the print on the front side, and I know exactly which hoodie this is. Now for sweaters, you can do the same as the hoodie, but you basically just lay it down flat. You flip it over towards the center, but not completely at the center. You want to leave a little room from the neck and out. Here is about 2.5 centimeters. Depends on what you prefer. You flip this in and out again. Same on the other side, flip, and the same with the sleeves. And then you flip it over, and then you have something like this. Now you can also, again, be more simple and flip them and fold this in half, the same as the one t-shirt I showed you. You have the sleeves right here. I like to lay it down flat, and then I just take the sleeves in, make sure they are nice and straight so they don't get too wrinkly while they are folded. Bring it in, and then I bring them down so that the fold looks something like this, and then I fold it in half. That way this one gets a little bit skinnier. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but you can still see what sweater it is. Now moving on to shorts. Now there are 2 ways you can fold shorts and pants, and well, there are probably multiple ways, but it depends on how you prefer it. So this is the front of the shorts, and you can fold them inwards and just keep it like this. That's what I usually do with my shorts because they're not that long and they fit perfectly in the shelf that way, and I just keep them like this. You can also be the kind of person that fold them outwards, keep them like this if that's what you want. Some people like to fold it in half and then again fold it in half. Now if I have shorts like these where they are wider at the bottom, I would want to fold this in the crotch part and then fold it down so that when it's folded it looks like this. Because if I didn't fold that crotch part in, it will look like this, and this part just takes up space that it doesn't need to, and you just fold that in and it looks like that. It's a lot better. Now one thing I forgot to mention about the shorts is that you want the zipper to be up. Whenever you have something that has a zipper on it or buttons on it, you want the buttons to either be every other button buttoned or all of the buttons buttoned. But with pants, you want the zipper to be up and you want the button to be buttoned. And you want to make sure that these pants like to be folded inward, so that's what I'm going to do. You fold them in half. You make sure the crotch is nice and sharp. I like to lay these flat. This works with jeans as well. I put the waist to the bottom of the pants, as you can see, and then I do the fold again. So I lay it down, fold, side up. Now I know that this will make it take more space just because I have that nice sharp crotch. I don't mind just because it will come out flat and I stack these on top of each other. So for me that doesn't matter. I'm not gonna show all types of skirts because if you have a skirt that is tight fitted like this one, you just fold it in half and then fold it again, which is very simple. But with skater skirts, it's something that could be difficult for some people. So what I like to do is make sure it's folded in half. I lay it down flat. And what we know about these kind of skirts is that they are more small at the waist and more wide at the bottom. So I do the same principle as the sweaters. I fold in just the bottom part so that it lines up with the top part. And then I fold that in half. So the skirt will look something like this when it is packed. Now, when it comes to scarves, I'm showing you a thick scarf now because it is winter. So this is the whole scarf. What I like to do is make sure that the ends meet right here. I grab it so that I hold the loopy part right here. As you can see, I make sure that to shake it. Now, sometimes when you fold, I don't know how good you are at folding, but it should align perfectly. But if you're not that good, make sure which side is shorter than the other, and you make sure the longest side is what goes out and covers the outside, so you don't get that weird where it doesn't completely cover. Here it does. And like I showed you, I just took this and folded it in half again. And I'm holding the two loops and I make sure the two loops here are aligned, or the edges are aligned, so that I will have that nice little fold. I like to shake it a little bit to make sure it is aligned nicely. And I like to fold it again just because I want it to take up less space width-wise, and so I do that. Now I know that my scarf has fringes on the side, not a lot, not big, but it has fringes on the side. I want to make sure that's on the outside, so I'm laying that side down, and then I'm folding this over in half, and then folding it down this way, and then I could keep it like this if that's what I want to, but I like to fold it again just because I like my scarves to take up less space. And that is how it takes up less space. Now, on to the next, towels. What I do with towels, first of all, whenever you own a towel, never let it hang like this if you can avoid it when it's wet. Because this is gonna make sure that it weighs down at the corners so that when you go to fold it, it's not gonna be even. I didn't have a lot of space when I was a student, so this had to be hanged like this. So it has that shape to it, so I know it's uneven. But I will make it work. What I like you to do is that the side that this one is on, the loopy part, you want to make sure that one is facing up towards you. You lay the towel down flat as much as you can, and then you take the side that has the loopy part and you bring it down towards the center. Now, like I said, my towel is a little uneven. That's why I make sure I take the loopy side down first, because the edges are not going to go all the way down. I don't know if you can tell here, it doesn't go all the way down just because it has been shaped weirdly because of the way it used to hang. And then I just take this side of the towel and I fold it in towards the middle, and then I do the same on the other side, fold it in towards the middle. Now I'm basically stuck with 2 pages like this. I fold that in half as well, and here you have a towel folded. You know, now you're actually going to see me fold my bed sheets because I just had these washed and I waited to fold them until I did this video just so that I could have it on camera and I didn't have to undo my folding. So this is now inside out, so I make sure it is right side out. I know that some people like to iron their bed sheets before they fold them, and that is a personal preference. You can either do that before or after. Well, basically you can iron your bed sheets before you fold them and store them, or you can iron your bed sheets before you use them. Now my grandma, she does something because she washes her bed sheets and then she irons them while they're wet, hangs them to dry, and then they are completely straight when they're done. You want to make sure this is the bottom part. I know that some bed sheets have the opening in the side, but most bed sheets today have it at the bottom. Make sure you grab one corner of the bottom and you make sure you grab the side seam on the same one. You want to make it sure it's at least halfway up. So, and then you just want to toss it out. Now my bed sheet is a little bit longer than the width of my bed, so it's folding off, kind of folding off of the bed, but that's fine. Now what you want to do is make sure it's nice and straight, this part at least, and then you take the side seam of this one and you take the corner, make sure it's a sharp corner, and you take a side seam, shake it, fold it over, and then what I like to do is make sure I grab this corner, lay it on top of this corner, shake it out, stretch it, lay it down flat, align the seam as I go down, the seam on top of the seam, to make sure it is as flat as possible. And I do the very same at the end here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the middle of the bed sheet and I'm gonna fold that over again. And the reason why I take the middle is that way I know whenever I fold over, it's gonna look sharp, nice and sharp towards this side as well as this other side. What you want to do is take the end, the bottom part of the bed sheets, and you want to fold it over towards this side. Now I'm gonna move this closer to the camera so you can see what I'm actually doing. So now all of the end pieces are on top of each other right here. I make sure it lay nice and flat, and this is the one part where everything is nice and folded. You don't see any edges. And what you want to do is you want to take this side, take it in towards the middle, make sure it is nice and straight, and you do the same on the other side, make sure it is nice and straight, and then you fold it over like a book. Keep it nice and straight, and your bed sheets should look like this from all sides. Now for the pillowcases. Now I have two different pillowcases because I don't have a complete set. Now the great thing about these two pillowcases is they have different openings, so I can show you with different openings. This one has a side opening, the other one has a bottom opening. So what you want to do is make sure you have those nice crisp corners. Shake it out if you have to. But what you want to do is make sure that the folding end is at the bottom, just because this one tends to move the most when we are dealing with this kind of a pillowcase. So the folding part is at the bottom just because it tends to be a little bit on the bigger side, and that's gonna make the fold look better. So what you're gonna do is just take the two corners down, meeting the other, the same technique as when we did the towels. Make sure it's nice and straight, bring it into the middle, make sure the corners are nice and sharp. Do the same on the other side, fold it in and fold it in half. That way you have a nice pillowcase that is folded nicely. Now with this kind of a pillowcase, the reason why this is different is because it has a bottom opening. And bottom openings I think is a little bit harder because the bottom, depending on how old your bed sheets are or how easily movable the fabric is, because both of those matter in these times. So what you want to do is lay it flat again with the folded side down, because that's the one that is usually on the bigger side, and you bring the corners down to meet it. But this time don't worry about meeting this first side, make sure you meet the folded side, and then you fold it in half on both sides, the same as the towel, same as before. Fold it in half completely again, and you have your nice bed sheet folded. Now the last thing I'm going to be folding is something that is everybody's dreaded fold. So what you want to do is put your hand inside a corner and make sure that your index finger is pointing in that corner to make sure you get that nice sharp corner. What you then want to do is, I don't know if you can see, this is outside of the fabric, and so by the next corner that I do have, I want to make sure I have the inside of this. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it's the inside. And I want to put this inside my first. So I now have, you see how the two of them are on top of each other and it creates this kind of a look? That's what you want. And that's why you want your index finger to be pointing out to sharpen that corner. And then I go for the bottom, and I go the one that is on the inside, not the one that is on the outside. I go for the one on the inside, and I put my finger in from the outside and put it out. So for this seam, it's the same as the outside fabric, the same as the first. And I put it in the corner, make sure that I drag any corner like this. Now for my last one that I have down here, I want to make sure it's the inside of the fabric, the same as the second one, and I put it inside the hole here again. So all of them are now stacked on top of each other, and so I have something that looks like this on this side, and that looks like this on this side. Now what I like to do by this time is I like to lay it down, making sure the corner is nice and sharp. I align all of the lines to make sure it's a nice straight line here, it's a nice straight line on top here as much as I can. So what, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but now I have an edge going right around here. This is where the elastic is, and this is where the flat fabric is. So what I want to do is take this corner and bring it down. I don't do anything too fancy with this, I just bring it down. I fold it inwards, make sure everything in the fabric is nice and straight, there are no strange folds, and then I fold the side in the same as before, always towards the middle like a book, and then again the last time over like this. Because this side is bigger, I'm gonna be keeping this side as my goal side, and I just want to stretch it out, make sure it's nice and aligned like this. Now you don't need it any better than this technically if you're just gonna use it for storage. Now for display you're gonna need a little bit better than this, but this takes up less space than, let's say, just rolling it up. So that is all I have for you today, and I hope that at least one of these tips were helpful for you. And if you liked the video, please leave a like down below, and if you have any questions or anything like that, then leave a comment down below. And if you want more content like this, then please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you will be notified when I upload a new video. My how-to Fridays are usually posted every Friday at 7 o'clock Norwegian time, which makes it about 2 o'clock New York time. And with that, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!